And we're back.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the channel. It's October 3rd, and our topic for today is a mantra of mutual interdependence.
Okay. Let's see what they got for us.
Okay. Marcus says, meditate often on the interconnectedness and mutual interdependence of all things in the universe. For in a sense, all things are mutually woven together and therefore have an affinity for each other. For one thing follows after another according to their tension of movement, their sympathetic stirrings, and the unity of all substance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's like the oneness, non-duality, God or something, like that thing that is the reality that is hearing these words, right? Yeah.
Because unless you are meditating on this interconnectedness, I don't think you will have a good sense of what is true and what is just. It'll be difficult to live life according to the 4 Stoic virtues because there's this element of ignorance in the idea that I am a separate thing
It's unique.
that's unique and that is not part of the whole
and special.
reality.
Special, and we believe that we experience reality. We don't believe that we are part of reality. We're experiencing it from this kind of a separate point of view, not realizing that even though it's super obvious that, well, if he's also experience it from that point of view and you experience it from this point of view, well, we have the same experience and we think it's our reality, but it's nevertheless, if we all just disappeared like this, reality continues without us experiencing it, right? So it's like it's not experienced. It is an experience from individual standpoint, yes, like I have this point of view from here, from this entity, but it's not unique. I am part of this whole thing, this reality that we all share together, right? And it's like we're in it together type of a thing, like there's no separateness from anything to anything.
Yeah, I mean, with just like the words that you said, like I think it is unique. Like your human experience is a unique experience, but it's not separate. It's not.
Yes. Yeah. It's a point. It's a unique experience from this body, from this point of view, from this how this is being processed. From that standpoint, it's like uniquely configured, but what I'm experiencing is that same reality that everybody else is experiencing. I'm just feeling, oh, it's a little different for me. It's different for them, thinking, and then I take it, oh, then there must be then separate. Our realities are separate. I see it very clear that no, it's one reality. We are all experiencing the same reality.
Yeah.
So then there's no such thing as I am somehow even able to be separate. Like even if I wanted it to, I just believe that I'm separate, but I cannot be separate. There's no such thing, right? The concept of being separate is debunked. It can't exist or something. Yeah, because of the interconnectivity, because the reality is shared in all of us, in everything. I'm not just talking about people, but the entire universe, the entire everything, right? So, yeah. Yeah. nevertheless, sometimes like I might act like it is not like that, you know? Be like honking at somebody, right? Or being like pissed off that I'm not being heard by anyone. I might say like, I feel like I don't have a friend in this world, let's say, right? And like, well, how could I say that if I'm connected to that whole thing, right? So I have these statements that are learned and believed from way back then when I didn't understand this shared reality thing, and now in this shared reality I have this thing, this understanding, but I'm just continuously using or finding myself using the old learned concepts or something, right? And then they're like, wait, what? How can I be saying both of these things at the same time? They are contradicting themselves, right? So yeah, it's yeah.
Knowing it does not change the learned pattern of thinking the things or behaving in certain ways.
Right.
Because repetition is the mother of all learning. And you can never unlearn something. The only thing that can happen is you can stop using those pathways, and those pathways decay over time. They atrophy the same way a muscle would. But the only way that pattern of thinking or behaving is going to atrophy is by not doing it. So there needs to be
Nike.
not doing it really,
Not do it.
and the only way to not do it is to do it enough times that you have this cognitive dissonance between, well, I just did it and I'm saying this thing to myself but I see that it's not true. I see that it's ridiculous. And I do this cognitive dissonance enough times that soon I'm not using that pathway in this type of situation anymore. I'm forming a new pathway. Like the repetition of the cognitive dissonance helps me create a new pathway of thinking and behaving that is more aligned with what I actually know to be true. And so maybe when he's saying like meditate often, the purpose of the meditation is to get us to the place where we're having that cognitive dissonance moment. Because sometimes you can have that moment like years later, years after the fact.
Yeah.
But you could also theoretically have that cognitive dissonance in the moment itself where you're like, oh, this just came through my head and that's not true. And so the meditation gives us that clarity.
It's spending some time with it, not time duration, but spending some attempting to it. Yeah.
Yeah, like the meditation gives us the clarity that we need for that counter thought to come into play sooner and faster, which over time and repetition gives us the power to change.
So if we meditate on it and think about that, I guess, if some other way, that we might actually see a shift sooner rather than later if we're not doing it, right? Yeah. Because the shift might happen as like a fluke type of a thing, like, wait, this person thinks like this. Oh, well, I could. Oh, wow, why wasn't I thinking? Like, it could happen by you just stumble upon it, but it's better to, if you're looking for it, then you will stumble upon it quicker. To your point, because it's there. It's
what, the wisdom?
Yeah, it's hiding there. The information, the data of these answers, right? But if we're not asking ourselves those questions, then those answers are hard for them to come. Because they're not coming to no question. There has to be a question in order for that to somehow start to be connected or something. Yeah. Questions. Okay, cool beans. Ryan time? Let's do it.
Ryan says, Anne Lamott once observed that all writers are little rivers running into one lake, all contributing to the same big project. The same is true in many industries, though sadly, even inside the same company, people selfishly forget they're working together. As human beings, we all breathe the atoms that made up our ancestors and flow into the same earth when we die. Over and over again, the Stoics reminded themselves of the interconnectedness of life. Perhaps that was because life in Greece and Rome was particularly harsh. Animals and people were slaughtered senselessly to amuse the masses in the Colosseum, events lamented in the Stoic writings. Countries were conquered and its citizens sold into slavery to expand the empire, the futility of which the Stoics also lamented. This kind of cruelty is possible only when we forget how we're related to our fellow human beings and the environment. Today, take a moment to remember that we are woven together and that each of us plays a role, good, bad, or ugly, in this world.
Yeah, the one thing that caught my ears was that the coworkers, right? Like there was this thing like, hey, who as you as an employee, you work for a company, right? So therefore, your competitors are the businesses that the company is in competitions with, right? So that's everybody's employee, that's their competitors. But that's not what this is. The competitors are the coworkers who are trying to get promoted, get raised, get better, more days off than you. Whatever the benefit is, we're continuously competing against each other under the same roof of this one company where we're supposed to work as a team to pull behind one rope. We're in the fiercest competition of our lives over these type of these kind of accommodations, if you will, like getting a better job and more money and things like that. And it's like, so no wonder a lot of these companies are having a hard time moving forward, because they have internal war and turfs and wars, right?
Turf wars.
Turf wars, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what was standing up. It's like, man, like, yeah, we are one team, but we are not playing for the same team, almost. So it's like, well, that's not efficient. How is that going to work? How are we going to go in the right direction? What is the direction that we all should be pulling? If that's not there, then yeah, now we're competing against each other, and it's not collaborative environment. It's a competitive environment. That's silly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you notice that's happening, it's like, okay, well, I have a couple of options. A, I can be like the role model for the way things ought to be, which is I recognize that I am a part of all of this and that everybody is an equal part of this and we all play a role, and I'm always going to make decisions and behave with that in mind. Or maybe this environment is like not where I want to be spending my time, and so I'm going to actually be shifting my energy into finding a different place where the culture has more of that in it, because there are cultures that think more in the other way, and so
this is, I'm not saying anything new here, right? So this is all stuff that I've read somewhere, how this already works someplace else, and they are pulling behind one rope. And sure, there's a little bit of, you can't escape the inner office politics. That's not going to stop happening. But overall, the most important thing is for this company to move forward to the directions that the bosses set, right? That's the most important thing. Like, my personal getting a raise has to be secondary to that. Right? And so, but in some environments, that is the primary thing. So, and then it's like, well, of course it's, hard to, collaborate. How do you get there? I don't know. Maybe you pay enough people. Maybe you pay the people enough money so they don't,
I don't think it's that, because it's about those people's internal mindsets. It's about what kind of project do they believe they are a part of? Do they believe that I'm a part of my personal project, which is maximize my earnings.
So you're saying don't pay them more money. Money has nothing to do with it.
I don't think money is going to solve that problem.
No, I'm not saying money will solve that problem. I'm saying money is part of that problem. If you are thinking about, that's that whole thing about the minimum wage thing, the whole like being like when you getting paid $100,000, you still thinking about how to afford to live, and therefore you're going to that job thinking about how to make more money so you can finally afford, and so finally life can feel like you're actually, oh, I can finally take a breath. I was able to save some money for harder times when they come.
I just think money is like a separate conversation. It's like, yeah, you might need to continue to ask for raises and get more money. Like that's one thing. But ultimately, no matter how much money you have, if you're making the minimum wage or the $100,000 or the $250,000, that is not going to help you see yourself as part of the collective, interconnected reality.
I was not suggesting that money will make you see yourself as part of a collective reality. I don't think that that's what I'm referring to. I was referring to that the competition inside of businesses, inside of teams, let's say, can be solved or adjusted, not solved, maybe helped, with the people on those teams having more livable wages, right? And if they have more livable wages, now the competition between them is lessened, not completely eliminated, just lessened. And now the focus is what? No, not me getting another 10% raise, because I am okay. I am able to save a little. I'm not talking about, I need more, this blind, more. No. Just getting to the point where I don't have to think about that, oh my God, am I going to be able to pay my rent next month, right? So that thing, right? So I'm not in this forced competition at my job to try to get more money. No matter what, I have to go like this. I'm going to get more money. Everybody aside, because I am in the need of my life is stressful with not be able to have.
I just haven't seen that competition at work being driven primarily by I don't have enough money, and me having more money means that other people have less. Like I've seen the competition at work being more about like the power and like the hierarchy structure, and like I want to climb that ladder, and like money is a component of it, but it's not like the competition is being driven primarily by this idea of like I need more on my paycheck. I mean, I think every culture is different. Like it's like a case by case basis, you know? And then I also look at the problem and I'm like,
yeah, but why would you? Yeah, I mean, why do you want a promotion? You don't want power. You don't have.
Some people do.
I understand that some people do have power and that they want the power, and inside of the power comes money. But I think that people want the promotions because of the money. It's not like they're like power hungry, egoistic people who need to be like satisfied with being in charge.
Sure, but like they're also already making good. A lot of times these people are already making good money, and they're not in that place where they're worrying about things. They're taking vacations, they're buying new cars,
and they're still in
the competition because they want a better car and a better vacation than their neighbor.
Yes, and that's more of the blind competition. That's now a separate level. Another level is this: I can afford to live, so I'm in the competition, right? Then yes, you get to some. There's that's what I'm saying. The competition is never going to be eliminated, but if number one thing in people's mind is, I need to get promoted, I need to move up to make more money, it's inevitable that there will be competition, and kind of an ugly competition, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just think like that can coexist with either A, the belief that I'm interconnected and we're all part of this, and
Coexist is great.
I want to better myself, but I want everyone else to better themselves too. But that could also exist in a place where I'm not thinking about my interconnectedness, and I can be thinking it's my success is somebody else's downfall, and I need to protect my success, and I need to kind of try to make other people look bad so that I can get more of it. And I don't really see like the money aspect itself like being the thing that is gonna help change the needle or move the needle on that. It's like an inside job for each individual person to be like, do I feel like I'm part of this larger project, or is my project a project of me and me alone? And I think, and you can be that, you could be either one of those people at any level of a hierarchy and at any like salary level.
And what's your point though with that?
That I don't think that salary level impacts competitiveness, because competitiveness is coming from that inside job of like, what do I believe in? Do I believe that? So you believe
that salary level or compensation level is not connected to competition. It's more the what did you say?
Like the lack of interconnectedness. Like I'm not seeing that.
You're not seeing this. Okay, yeah.
Like I'm not seeing my interconnectedness, so therefore it's my success is somebody else's downfall, and I need to work to ensure that. But I could also be getting paid shit and want a raise and be pushing for the raise, but internally I'm like, we're all part of the same project, and hey, like we all need this. Like let me get this.
I understand that that's how you are viewing it. Yeah, I get that. I'm not saying that there aren't no people out there who are not treating projects or collaboration with what you said. I think the majority of actually people want to collaborate and they want to work together, and the salaries is not really even on top of their line, right? But then there are some people within these groups that are very competitive.
Yeah, and I think that's driven by that mindset and not the salary that they're being paid. It's like driven by the mindset of like, my success comes at the expense of somebody else, and I'm not interconnected with these people. It's just me. I'm the most important one. Let me barrel my way forward. Like it's the mindset that's driving that in them. It's not like the whatever's coming into their bank account.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, we all have different experiences, so it's, we see it differently, and it's okay. Yeah, I can see that though. I can see how you're seeing it like that,
Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be paid more. Like, of course, people should be paid more. People shouldn't be worried about that to me is just sort of like a separate thing. And like, I don't think like if we were all paid more, we would all be less competitive with each other, because there's still that mindset that some people have that is driving their competitive behavior.
So you're thinking that like people, like let's say football players that are on the same team, they're not competing against each other, right? They're competing, they have different salaries, right? But they're not competing against each other. They're competing against another team, right? So why don't they, why is that working over there in sports like that, and it's not working in these jobs? Why is this like, because to me it's like the guy, the quarterback is already the quarterback, right? So he's not trying to become a quarterback. He's not trying to become a linebacker.
Right, like a linebacker is not trying to graduate up to a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, some might, but it's more of a like a career thing, and it's like people try to help him with it. It's not a competition. I'm gonna kick the quarterback in the shin, so I then take over his job, even if I wanted to, right? Like, no, it's all. And I'm not saying that those teams don't have infighting. Sure, they have problems, let's say, of how their opinions are different. But at the end of the day, they're all pulling behind the same road. But within companies, I see this inner competition, and it's like, so like I can see like on the basketball court, let's say, like, okay, like Michael Jordan, he wanted the status, so he was competitive with, let's say, somebody who on his own team, right? Or something, who also wanted to.
I mean, I didn't even see that in him. I saw him go to his own team and say, guys, come on, we got to do this. Like, you got to suit up for this shit.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very rare that there would be inner competition.
Well, I think there's also a difference between a sports team, because, like, think about, like, professional sports teams. Like, these guys, this is all they've ever wanted to do. They're living their fucking dream. And they have really great leadership.
And
like,
great,
the coach.
And great salaries. That they don't have to try to bring someone down in order to get paid.
Right, but I think like this is like they have such great leadership over there who's like, I'm not going to tolerate this competitive bullshit in you guys. If we're going to win, we're all laser focused on winning. So we all have the same goal, and we all verify with each other that we have the same goal. We're all meeting together all the time. We're all like, the leadership of that team is like, it's in his ear as he's like playing the game, right? Like for a quarterback.
Sure.
Companies are like a totally different situation, because first of all, you probably assume that a lot of the people at these companies, this is not their dream gig. This is not what they wake up every morning like, fuck yeah, I get to go to work today. Like, no, like most people are like, man, going to work is a necessary evil, but like I'd really love to be spending this time with my family, or surfing, or reading a good book, or something like that.
Yeah, but then they go to work and then they're competitive.
So I'm bear with me because I'm laying out the scenario. So they're waking up and they don't feel this sense of meaning or purpose when they go into their job. Now they show up at their job and leadership is fucking weak. Leadership is not aligned with winning in this direction.
And this is whose leadership? In general.
Not every company, but like think about how frequent this scenario is out there. Where like leadership is not aligned in what direction they're moving, but let's say they are. Now the next barrier is communicating that down to everybody else, and that communication piece falls flat more often than not. So now we have people who are like out of the loop. They don't know what direction we should be moving in. They don't want to be here to begin with. This is just a paycheck for them. So like there's all these other things that get in the way of them like suiting up and being Patrick Mahomes at work, like, or Michael Jordan at work, because it's like they don't have the structure that would enable them to flourish like that.
So, and you don't think that them getting paid enough money there, that they would say, oh my God, this is actually, I'm so fortunate to be here because I get all these amazing benefits and this great salary. So now I want to freaking go there.
I mean, have you seen that? I haven't seen money. Money doesn't produce that level of meaning for people where they're like, fuck yeah, man.
No, I'm not saying that money produces meaning. I'm just saying money produces that I don't have to think about what to put in my mouth.
Right, but what I'm saying, like these cultures.
Well, I know what you're saying, but
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say. I'm saying, like, I'm seeing that in these cultures, a lot of these behaviors are driven by people who are not worried about this. They're not worried about where they're gonna buy things. Like they're
not worried about it.
A lot of people in these companies are not worried about that.
That's not my experience. These guys.
You're at a VP level. You're making $250. But like you're still competing like a ruthless asshole with everybody in the company. So it's like, it's not like I get to a certain level and now my money is here and suddenly my mindset shifts and I want to be here all the time and I'm generous with people and I feel that sense of interconnectedness and I'm just pulling for the team. Like you see this at all levels of the company, not just the people who are who are worried about where they're getting their food from. Like, of course, that's a problem. We need to solve for that problem. I just don't think, I have not seen it where like throwing more money into the salary pool is like solving that problem for people.
Speaking like a true Republican. Yeah. And I think that it does. I'm not saying that it solves it, but I'm saying it affects it a very, very big way.
And I'm not saying it doesn't affect it at all. I'm saying it is a problem and it needs to be solved. But it's a separate problem from the problem of I don't see myself connected to everybody. Like, that's the problem we're talking about in today's entry of like, do I see myself as an interconnected piece of the whole? And I'm saying salary does not solve that problem. That doesn't mean that it's not a problem and it shouldn't be solved. Yes, it is a problem, it should be solved. But it's not correlated with being able to see that like, oh, I'm part of this larger organism. Like, that's the only reason why I'm pushing on this, because of today's topic of like, we're talking about like meditating on the fact that I'm cooperating with everything here rather than competing against it because I think that I'm special or different from everything else.
Oh, yeah, I hear you on that for sure.
Yeah, I hear you on the fact that like salaries are problematic for people. Like, absolutely. Like, it's 2023. Like, should we really be worried about how we're going to pay our bills? Like, nobody wants to be worried about that. That's a huge problem.
Yeah. Well, we won't solve it here, so right? Yeah, we can only just really have a discussion.
I mean, really, like with the Stoic stuff, it's like, hey, I need to now take that and turn it into me and be like, okay, like if I'm not happy with my salary, like what am I doing about it? You know, like the Stoics, it's like, it's not about like contemplating these problems out there and like how are we going to solve those problems out there? It's like, I have enough problems internally with just waking up in the morning and feeling okay to be a human. So like, why don't I start with that and really figure that stuff out? And like, this stuff out here will get sorted out. I trust that it will get sorted out the more that I focus on getting myself sorted out. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I don't need to solve our wealth disparity problem or something like that. I just need to solve my own inner struggles.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one way to look at it. Yeah. But that doesn't make me more connected to others or like understanding them or something. It seems like I'm just gonna focus on me, and because that will fix all of the problems. Because I'm looking at it the wrong way. So if I focus on me, then all of these problems should go away, right? Because I don't have control over them. Therefore, why should I be focusing on them? Therefore, they're not my problems. Therefore, yeah, I get it. I understand that. Like, I get that. Yeah.
And when I focus on my problems, it doesn't mean that like I'm not thinking about other people. No, because part of my problem is like, well, I do feel this separation from other people. I do feel this alienation or this competitiveness. So like, what is that? And like, I solve that internally. I solve that of like, hey, like we're all on the same team. We're all in the same boat. Like that is like only achieved by me having conversations with myself and like looking at how I'm thinking about things and how I'm showing up in situations and being like, is this how I want to show up here? Or do I want to show up in a different way?
Right. No, I hear you what you're saying. You're saying go with your life, and if you stumble upon a team that's ultimately vicious against each other, you can't change anything in there. You can only change yourself, so you can start adjusting yourself to fit that team. And if that's not working, then you need to find a new team. Like you're saying it very clearly, black and white. Yes. This team is dysfunctional. Fuck him. I'm out, right? I get it. You can't really change a team that's dysfunctional because they're in competition. Yeah, it's you might have to fire the coach and fire half the team and do a big old reorg and just in order to fix that problem. And is it up to Me personally, no, it's not. Nobody put me in charge of that. So yeah, I fit there with this crazy competition thing, that how these guys want to do it in between each other, or I say, hey, I want to pull on the same rope with all these folks, and we just want to be high-fiving him, right? Like that's the environment I want to be. So then that just means, oh yeah, I just have to change myself. I can only change myself. Therefore, I can change the job of going to that new place. Yeah, I get it. That's very clear to me. Right? I was hypothetically wanted to kind of just have a conversation about like how these teams do have this inner connectivity, but they're all in competition against each other. So how can that work? That's all. Like I'm not trying to even solve it. I'm just trying to actually say like, that's crazy that we expect that to somehow work. That's what I'm bringing up.
That we expect that approach to work.
Yeah, somehow, or not just approach, but like, because nobody over there is saying, let's approach it like this. No, it's just like a result of lack of leadership, having a good forward. This is the rope that everyone needs to be pulling on, right? Like they maybe didn't give them the rope, so they're all pulling in different directions, right? So I get that. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I was just like, oh wow, that's like, we are in this environment where everyone pulls on a different rope. We all know we're pulling on different ropes, but we somehow still expect good results from it, and we're not getting them, and we're all frustrated. Why is it not? Why are we not getting better results, right? And so, my off the cuff thing was, oh well, why are we in competition? We want more money, right? Okay, maybe if the money were in some sort of like, you don't have to worry about that, maybe that would lessen that competition, and now the team can start being organized around that one rope. You're saying money has nothing to do with it. That will not fix this problem. I get it. I agree. Maybe it doesn't fix it. I was just trying to say there is a sliver of a space where adding money there could lessen which needs to be right after followed by, this is now the new rope that you need to be pulling on. Go ahead and pull on this one rope. Like it has to be in a combination or something.
There needs to be other changes.
There has to be other changes.
The culture,
Yes.
other changes to the system.
This is why I was saying,
maybe getting a little bit more money for some people actually helps shift their mind to be more generous and to be more collaborative.
Because that more money could come with a condition. Hey, guys, I noticed that there is some competition. Everybody's getting a bump. And why are you getting the bump? Because I need you to be on the same team. Going forward, you're a team player, or we're gonna replace you because we need to have a team. And this expectation needs to be set. And then people say, well, what do I get? The bump, the raise. Oh, okay, I'm in. I'm going. Let's go, team. And all of a sudden, you have
but it's
buying
also like,
power.
What do you get? I get like a way more pleasant work day.
Well,
like, geez, I'm not going to be at this guy's throat, and he's not going to be at mine.
Of course, but you can't sell that. You can't sell that. They don't believe in it. They have never experienced it. Therefore, they will never believe in it, and therefore, they will not want to change. But if you throw some money at them, I'm not saying give them tens of thousands of dollars. No, just say, hey, here is a bump. We are respecting and cherishing your contribution. Here is some little reward, and now this reward also comes with this pivot as we going as a team. I'm not saying this works every time and this is the problem and that's how you fix all the dysfunctions. No, I'm just saying that could be one of the things that could work if those people on those teams are kind of below average pay for the roles that they're in, right? And these people are not stupid. They can Google saying how much is a business analyst make, right? And they see how much they make versus what the average is in this area, let's say, right? And now they see that, oh my God, I am getting 30% less from the average. So this is powerful inside of a person. They said, this is garbage. Why am I not, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, I need to get promoted. I'm going to start looking where the opportunities are, right? And now where is it? Well, in my company. And so now there's this inner competition, right? So anyway, my 2 cents. We've been talking about this for too long, but let's wrap it up. But anyway, good conversation, I guess. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Okay.
Coolio. Well, let us know if you have any thoughts on today's talk, and we shall see you here tomorrow.
Bye-bye.